Industry Champions. I'm your host, Chris Budihas, standing here at Tom McManus's bar at the Horse's Mouth. In the studio, I have Scott Callaway with Avant Construction Group. Scott, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you
doing? Good to see you, man. So before we get into the industry side of things, you were in the Navy, so thanks for your service in the nation.
You were worth serving.
Yeah. It's great. I always tell people we live in such a great patriotic community. What you do in the Navy?
For the first 20 years, I was a sonar tech. So hunted submarine on the surface side. That was a really awesome job. In fact, I had the opportunity to help rewrite how we certify units to do anti-submarine warfare in the Navy. So that was a pretty neat opportunity. But then I switched over. Some would call it the dark side. I didn't go officer.
You became they?
I became
leadership.
I became command senior chief. And my intent was to go 30 years.
Right.
But they said I was going to make Master Chief, and I said, okay, what does that mean? And they said, well, you're either going to go to Bahrain, Romania, or somewhere else, but all of them were unaccompanied. And at the time, I had an 8-year-old autistic child at home that we were going through it.
Right.
She's now 12. She's doing great.
That's awesome.
But I didn't want to leave my wife with her. I'd already been I did 10 deployments, so she had been through enough, and I was like, I'm not going to put her through those 3 more years. But I'm glad I made the decisions that I made because it led me to where I'm at today.
That's great. So let's get into Avant. So what do you guys do? Like, is it commercial construction? Is it residential?
Well, I'm going to answer that with a yes.
Okay.
And I think the last time we talked, that wouldn't have been a yes.
Okay.
So
there's been change in the last 9 months.
A little bit. So Avant is a commercial construction company. Our niche is historic adaptive reuse. So if it's dusty, dirty, and nobody else wants to do it, that's right. Right in our wheelhouse. But we also do ground up builds.
Okay.
So we've done some apartment complexes. Some of the most notable ones that you've probably seen in the news is the Trio downtown. That has ties to Frank Lloyd Wright. We're going to be redoing that one. They're just going through some things, making sure designs and all that kind of good stuff is wrapped up and taken care of. But we're going to try to save all 3 of those buildings. I know that's been a big concern for the community because it does have that historical significance to it. Right now, we're also working on the Barnett Building.
Okay.
There's 3 floors that weren't done or redone.
What was the Barnett Building originally?
I don't remember. I think it was one of the banks, if I remember correctly. But one of our clients, he actually moved down here, a guy by the name of Mohammed, and he brought his company to put part of his southern headquarters here. So he bought the Barnett Building, and then he's in the process of doing the Trio as well.
Okay.
And then we're wrapping up the Greenleaf Building. We've redone all 12 floors. The only things that are left is in that corner where Jacob's Jewelry used to be. That is going to be the Oak Steakhouse. It's a top 10 steakhouse in the nation. It's supposed to be amazing. I can't wait because I love a good steakhouse. But I think the cooler part of that whole build, not that the steakhouse isn't going to be amazing, but in the basement where they had all the fine jewelry and stuff like that, we're going to make a speakeasy. And so we're going to put the first ever in Jacksonville street access to a basement. So we are literally going to cut a stairwell in on the little marquee that's right there by the big black historical clock.
Right.
We're going to cut in a stairwell going down, and that's going to become a speakeasy. So that's going to be pretty cool.
That's going to be fun.
It is, because in that they used to have an elevator, and we thought that they just tore it out. Well, when we started looking, they actually abandoned it in place. They took it all the way to the bottom and they abandoned it in place. So even like the little ratchet system that used to take it to the different floors and would have a bell or a elevator tender, I can't remember what they call those guys, almost like a bellhop. That had that mechanical system in there. So it was really cool. We were able to save some of that. We're going to use that to kind of give you that experience when you walk into that.
Needs that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, common point of discussion, here at the bar, downstairs, and then just out in town is, how do we, get downtown Jacksonville thriving? And what you guys are doing is part of that, right? Because you got to have nightlife, you got to have shopping, you got to have work and such. And then my wife and I, through our military time ourselves, we live in a lot of historical houses, and we love that. But we know that maintaining or renovating a historical location, whether it's a house or building, you need to have somebody who's an expert to do that.
Well, you need a team.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference here, is that you really need a team. And I don't mean a team like a good developer and a good GC. I mean a good developer, a good team, and good partnership with the city. Because downtown doesn't get rebuilt if the entire team doesn't work together.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat, or if you're purple or green, or it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You all have to be, focused on what is the end mission.
Yeah.
And how are we going to get there? And so one of the new additions that we've gotten to the city, who's not as new now, but Colin with the DIA and that funding, their team that they have together is amazing, and what they do. And I actually had a conversation with him, and I said, you're not always going to say yes, because there's a lot of money that has to go into these, because it takes about 66% more to redo a historical building than it does to just do new ground up.
Okay. Yeah.
But you can never replace that historical significance, and I think that's important. And so it's very important that the city recognizes that's important. They're able to help developers, subsidize that cost so that they can actually do it, and it pencils out for them.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, the misconception is, we're throwing a lot of this money at these people and we're making them rich. No, I mean, I'm sure they're going to be fine at the end of the day. But if they didn't have those incentives, we wouldn't be rebuilding downtown.
Right.
And so
now
now we've got
everything down, right?
Yeah, and so the return on investment, and that's something that the city looks at, is what is the return on investment? They are paying attention to what they get for the money that they give. And so it's not just a one-way road. They're actually going to receive more in the end than they're putting out, whether it be through taxable dollars or taxes on real estate, all of that stuff. You're activating an entire downtown, and that is amazing.
So as we look to close out a little bit here, and boy, I'd love to have you back on and continue this conversation. What geographical area are you guys servicing, since we're a nationwide, actually international show?
Yeah.
Where are you guys at?
Well, so when I took over the director of business development, our comment was always, we didn't want to drive past work to go to work.
Okay.
And I appreciate that, because being in the Navy and transferring every 3 years, that gets a little tiresome. So we do like to keep our core people here, and we will continue to do that. We're not going anywhere. Jacksonville's our home. But when I took over the business development side, I told our CEO I wanted to take us nationwide. And he said, that's fine. Do it without, adding a dime of overhead. Yeah. And I said, okay. Yeah. And here we are today. I can go to all 50 states if we want to.
No kidding.
So we're looking at stuff in Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Somebody asked me to come to Connecticut. Okay. I'm probably not going to go that far up. Yeah. And there are some challenges depending on where you're at, whether it's unions and how you fold in with them, or different bureaucracies. Some are easier than others, but if a client asks us to go, we're ready to go, and I've got everything set up so that we could take care of them and do it in a manner that we would do it here in Jacksonville. I mean, we're even looking at the Bahamas. There's a client that we're talking to for the Bahamas that would be about a 2-year project. Okay. And we'll just ship everything over and take care of it there locally.
That's excellent. So since you are in growth mode, how do folks find the company, and how do folks find you?
Well, you can go to Avant. Build.com, and that would really put you on our main website. And if you want to contact us, you're interested, we'll put out a lot of our, what we would almost call ITB, an invitation to bid, but it's more of a, hey, we're looking for these individuals. We'll put that on Indeed. We'll put that in a lot of different places. Okay. We do have our own HR that is taking care of those kind of things. We are in growth mode for sure. But we like to say a strategic growth mode. Right. When we hire somebody, there are a lot of construction companies that will hire somebody for the job. And then they don't know it, but at the end of that project, they no longer have a job. Well, our view is, if we are going to hire you, our intention is to take care of you and you be able to be here for an entire career.
That's
So
great.
we strategically look at that. We focus on it. It's part of our core values. We want to be loyal to the people that work with us, and we want them to be loyal to us as well.
I love that. I mean, you truly are in the people business. The people
It
that
is.
own the property, but also the people that work for your organization. No doubt, that impacts not only your performance as a company, but also your retention as a result of being people focused as a company. So we'll take all that contact information, Scott. We'll put it in our show notes
Absolutely.
and encourage folks to reach out to you.
Would love it.
Take a look at Avant, and then if they got a need, get up on the net and have a conversation and
Absolutely.
see how you guys continue to potentially work together. So thanks
Yep.
a lot. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you. Yep. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us on Industry Champions. See you our next segment. And a little gratitude.